He's a hard act to follow. I mean, come on. So the one thing I can guarantee is that you will see me with the Realtor Road Trip video very soon. No doubt about that. So I'm going to try to do something here a little bit unorthodox. I hope you guys will humor me. I guess this, oops, it's not on. All right. I don't need a microphone, but I got one. So I'm going to ask you guys to do something a little bit unorthodox. My experience in events like this is if you are able to push through your comfort zones, you're going to break through to the other side. And on the other side of those comfort zones is a whole lot of success. So if you would humor me, I want everybody to stand up. Thank you. All right, everybody standing. You guys had a good lunch, probably full, a little bit lethargic, so we're going to get a little bit crazy right now. I would like, and I'm going to record this, and you can best believe this will be on a YouTube video here in the near future, if you'll humor me. So this is a test run, right? You're not going to say anything. Boom! We're live! Is what you're going to do on 3, but let me zoom out. First time using the camera. All right. 1, 2, 3. I didn't hear you, Justino, but that's okay. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody sit down. All right. So, Josh, thank you for hosting this event. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I truly appreciate it, and I'm honored. Ryan, same. This is awesome. You know, COVID shutting us down from being in social gatherings like this really sucked. So to have everybody back together again is an incredible feeling. So I am going to share with you my journey from real estate cold calls into my YouTube channel, which is called Living in South Florida. And I will click the button and see how it works. So I'm going to share my experience, my strength, and my hope as it relates to lead generation. And obviously, actually, I wanted to also thank Rob. Earlier today, I think, I don't know if it was Ryan or Josh, but they talked about finding that one golden nugget. I think, Rob, you helped me find mine, which of course is to ask my wife for my balls back. So I want to thank you for that. I got what I needed. Drop the mic, and away we go. But yeah, more importantly, I'm going to share exactly, well, what did I put? Why I pivoted to YouTube from cold calling. So quick backstory, just to give you some context. I was a former stockbroker. My business failed. I was a stockbroker for 18 years in Boca Raton. I worked in every bucket shop and boiler room that there was, and that's the truth. So the Wolf of Wall Street trained a lot of the guys that trained me. I got a really good inside look at what it is to be an incredible phone salesman. I made the decision not to do all the corrupt things that they did, which is why I never had a mark on my license or went to jail. But I had some incredible sales training. At 37, the business failed. I came to work one day. They were shut, well, we weren't shut down per se, but I showed up to the office and FINRA, the SEC, the police had basically raided the organization. And they did an audit, found out that one of the other franchise, it was a huge franchise, but one of the other offices was running a Ponzi scheme unbeknownst to us. So quickly I learned that we're not out of business, but we could no longer make outbound phone calls and we could no longer sell stocks. Well, given that that's what I did over the phone, I was out of business. So at 37 years old, I had to start over. I went out there and did what anybody would do. They go get their real estate license because real estate is easy. Or so I thought. Now I went out there, I actually went on Zillow. I looked for the top producing agent in my market that would pick up his phone. So I went right down the list. The second person who answered, I begged for a job. And I was so fired up and so like terrified with where I was, obviously now not having a job. I just begged him. I'm like, please give me a shot. I will not let you down. And he's like, bro, it's okay. You got the job. You're good. I didn't realize at that point that anybody who has a license and a pulse gets the job. Nonetheless, I got the job. And I did everything he said, right? I was fragile. I lost this big job status. It was very humbling. It was humiliating. Doing open houses at crack houses in Delray Beach. It was certainly beneath my pay grade, or at least what I thought my pay grade was, but the truth was I needed all that experience. I was trying to be him, and it was not working out. I turned into a cartoon character. So he was real big on in postcards and mailing out these cartoon caricatures of himself. I adopted that model, and I fucking hated it. It was terrible. So here's the truth. And I can't read my own writing, but I was following a dated model, and it wasn't working for me. I'll go down here. I hated it, and I was ready to quit. Now, what I did have was I had the gift of desperation. And if I put myself back in that moment, I was completely desperate. And honestly, I had seen a lot of Josh's content. It was all available for free at that point on YouTube. And I was going out there looking, I just kept consuming the content. And then one day I went back, it wasn't there. It's like, oh shit, how do I do a listing appointment? And then I saw that there was the 90-day, the program, and I'm like, oh, this is a fucking scam. I'm definitely not doing that. But I also realized I'm desperate and I got no choices here. So it is what it is. I took the leap of faith and I joined his group and I went to work. At an event just like this a couple of years ago, so I think now it's probably 4 years ago, been to a few of them, I rediscovered my superpower. And I was asked to do a role play, or actually I wasn't asked. They asked for a volunteer to do some role play up front in front of the group. And so I raised my hand, I did my thing, and I realized so we talk about the aha moment. The aha moment for me was like, why in the fuck am I not doing this every single day, all the time? And there was a reason for that. I was told it didn't work. And I apologize about my language if I offended anybody. So with that, at the mastermind event, I did my role play. I went back to my seat. I made a decision in my mind that as soon as I came back to South Florida, I would start doing those cold calls live every day in a Facebook group. And I invited 2 people that were out there that were going to be my accountability partners. They were going to do it with me. Day 1, I'm in the group. Day 1, nobody else is. Those 2 are going to make the calls with me. They never did. But I did it consistently every day and instantly had success. So day 1, I get on the phone, I set an appointment, I get a listing, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Very quickly that group grew. So you can see now, I think there's close to 6,000 people that are in the group. I have not been live in there since the pandemic started. So as YouTube took off, I completely stopped doing those live dials, but the group continues to grow. There's some tremendous content in there. You're all welcome to join. I will eventually get back to that because I really like doing it. And now that I'm doing some other things, getting some more people and some more attention is never a bad thing. So I will move on. My daughters weren't pleased. They insist, well, they didn't insist, but so I tested this with them. And my kids were like, Daddy, I'm not in the presentation. So that's my wife and kids. I also knew that whatever sacrifice I was making would definitely come back to me. I didn't know when, and Josh talks a lot about committing to the process and detaching from the outcome. I am a firm believer in that. So I didn't care how long it took. I was totally committed to doing that, and however long it took, I knew at some point that the results would follow. And I had never been more excited about anything before at all, and here's why. So with phone prospecting, you're really only as good as your last phone call. And a phone call has no shelf life. So you're building content, you're putting content out there. It is out there, it is out there forever. It's constantly doing its work for you, or your work for it, or whatever. If I could ever find anybody that worked the same way that YouTube does, trust me, I'd pay them billions of dollars. Whatever it is, I would figure it out, I would hire them, because there's nothing better. And nobody ever once has ever called me based on a phone call that I made in the past, right? With content, they're going to call you all the time. And it's forever. It builds a massive pipeline of new business with new people. I already said that. It's constantly working on your behalf. So YouTube is your best friend. So is anybody out here already doing YouTube? Or let me do it the other way. Is anybody in here not doing YouTube? That's a lot of hands. Wow, well, I'm hoping that that changes. All right, so my question is, do you have a smartphone? Yeah. Congratulations, that is the right answer. You've got almost everything you need to start. Did anybody say no? Well, that's good, because if you did, that is the wrong answer. You must get one immediately. So here's what you need to start, or at least what I needed to start. Number one, you need to get YouTube coaching, right? There are lots of coaches in the space. I would tell you to inspect what you expect. If they cannot show you that they have clients or results that have generated in actual real estate closings and commissions, do not hire them, because there's a lot of pretenders out there. So make sure you find a real coach that can teach you the skills that you need. I use a gimbal. Any gimbal would do. Actually, you can see Sean back there. He's boomer live. So he's using my gimbal right now. I use a DJI Osmo 3. They're all the same, essentially. There's no bad gimbal. Get one. It will stabilize your video, make it look a lot smoother, and it'll look professional. You need a microphone. There are lots of different microphones out there. I use a wireless Rode mic, which I'm wearing right now. Look, you can spend a lot of money, you can spend a little money. It's really completely up to you. They all work, they're all good. Decent lighting. So you can invest, if you're going to be doing videos inside, you're going to need lighting that's appropriate. It's really cheap. Go on Amazon. It's not super expensive. I don't even know what it costs, 25, 50 bucks. Less than 100, you'll have a full setup. Or for free, go outside. Yeah. Just go outside. There's a lot of people that are doing green screen videos. I'm not here to knock that, but if you go outside, I think it has a way bigger impact. I think people connect with it a lot more. It's a lot more authentic, and you can just kind of position yourself to where the sun isn't washing everything out, and you can find the right lighting. Some tools that I found to be incredibly valuable that I would encourage you to check out too is Tubebuddy. Through Tubebuddy, they have keywords everywhere, and they've got SEO Studio. These three things I call like the three-headed monster of optimization. You can go in there, and at this point, assuming that you've done the YouTube coaching that I talked about in step one, you'll know what to do with these three tools. But it'll help you optimize the metadata, which is just really a fancy way of saying information about information. But it'll help optimize your video and get people to be able to find it organically, and that's what you want. Editing software. Right now, I've outsourced almost 90% of this to other people, but I couldn't do that unless I was able to do it myself and speak the language. So for me, I used Camtasia, and shout out to Ashley Lazotsky for pointing me in the right direction of that one. The reason I like that is you're able to do picture-in-picture. Actually, I think you can do picture-in-picture. But you can manipulate the videos fairly easily, and so I used that. But they're all good, so there's no bad editing software. You can use the software that I think it's iMovie. That works just fine. Just pick one, use it, and get consistent. Total commitment to creating content is the most important thing. So I think this is with any type of lead generation. The real most important thing, in my opinion, is consistency, right? So you don't have to be the best, you have to be the most consistent. If you're putting out one video a week, I think that's the bare minimum to actually start generating some results. That's not what I did, but I think that's the bare minimum. Here's what I did. I'm not kidding, I became a complete psychopath. Like, all I thought about was YouTube all the time. So at first, I scripted, I shot, I edited, I thumbnailed, I uploaded, I tagged, I optimized a minimum. When I say minimum, there were plenty of weeks where I did way more than 2 videos. But that's what I did at minimum. 2 videos a week for 7 months straight. Commit to the process, detach from the outcome. One of the things I was frustrated with was there's a lot of people in the space who are talking about instant success, instant results. That was not my experience. 7 months with nothing. Big fat zero. Did not stop me, did not slow me, did not dissuade me. I was very committed to the process. I knew at some point it would pay off. Right around 7 months, the phone started ringing. At first, the calls weren't all that great, to be honest with you. A lot of rentals. And then the price point started to kind of like ratchet up a little bit. Still wasn't super excited about it, but at least the first time the phone rang, I almost shit my pants, I'll be honest with you. I'm driving down the street, the phone rings, it's the number I don't recognize. Hey Chris, we saw your video, we want you to help us buy a house. I'm looking around, I'm like, is my wife here? Am I being punked? What's happening? I couldn't believe it, but no, it was real. So I got better at it, right? So the more you're putting out content, the more you're able to focus on who your audience is, right? So as I got better at it, as I got more comfortable, I started to key in on the luxury lifestyle, on the luxury properties, on the better subdivisions that I wanted to be in. Am I talking too much? Oh, all right. There's going to be a hook that makes me upset. But yeah, so I got real intentional on who my client was. I know Josh talks a lot about knowing your avatar. It's really important. So why would I go out there and spend all this? It's going to take me the same amount of time to do the same video, whether it's a $100,000 house or a $15 million house. I'd way rather do the $15 million house and get the pipeline that's generated from that. And so again, 7 months for the phone to ring. 10 months is when everything went just bonkers. Now I do have the competitive advantage, I think, of being in South Florida. There's a lot of people who are looking for real estate in South Florida. I knew that was going to be the case when the pandemic started. I didn't know that they were going to necessarily land in South Florida, but I knew there was going to be a lot of people watching content. So got real granular, real specific, put lots of content out there, and right around 10 months things went absolutely nuts. And I made a point to not so much showcase a house, because no one cares. What I wanted to do was showcase what it's like to live in that subdivision, live in that city, or live in that area. So you got to be intentional to showcase what that is, and I'm real light on what the houses look like, if I even include a house at all. In some cases I do, in some cases I don't. And again, I focused on the higher price points and the luxury living for my ideal client. So I talked about 7 months with 0 leads, but the quality of the lead is really like the game changer. So when people call, they think I'm a celebrity, which is incredible. There's no resistance. Like, there's no pushback. They're not fighting you on anything. There's no, you want them to know you, like you, trust you. They already know you, like you, and trust you. They love you. They want to work with you. You don't have to sell them on anything. There's no resistance on really anything. So that to me was like, it's better than working with family. You must know my family. Here's the best part though. So, this is kind of like top of the sales funnel. You're putting the content out there, you're getting the calls to come in. Where the real, and we can talk about this during the question and answer, where the first few calls that came in quickly made me understand that my process sucked. So people call in, I'm super excited, they're super excited, and I have no script, I've got really nowhere to go with it, other than, we want to buy a house, I want to sell you one, all right, let's go. You gotta dial in that process a lot. So we got really granular on creating. My listing presentation is incredible. My buyer's presentation was not incredible. Now it's world class. You have to have those pieces in place, right? So the more that we continue through the process, the better I've got at everything. And just like anything else, I'm continuously trying to refine it, continuously trying to automate it, continuously trying to scale it, and it's great. So I talked about here's what I did, here's what that did, which I may have already talked about, but I wasn't reading my slides. So it's turned me into a celebrity in the eyes of the clients and the viewers who watch YouTube. What's really cool is, like, I'll go into Publix and people will just start, oh, Mom, that's the guy from YouTube, which the craziest part was one day I'm taking my kids to school and I'm pulling out of my street. I'm at a stop sign. There's a guy riding his bike, and like, this is not like your normal guy just riding a bike. This guy's got like the gear on and the helmet and the aero position. Like, this is like a legit biker. So being that I've done that before, I used to train for triathlons. I know when you're in that mode, like, you don't really break concentration. So the guy starts driving by me. I have my window down, stops, almost falls off the bike. He's like, "You're the guy from YouTube!" My kids were in the back. They're like, "Daddy, do you know him?" No. So as cool as that is, if it doesn't translate into money in your pocket and a closing, then what's the point? Nobody cares. It's produced a pipeline of the highest quality buyers, and we've got roughly 50 million in sales volume from signed buyer brokerages that have found me on YouTube. I've taken them through our process, had them sign the buyer brokerage, and then got them approved by a lender. And with that, we closed about 10 million in the first quarter of this year. Thank you. And the unintended benefit of that is the pipeline now allows me to scale and attract talent who want access to those quality leads. So the more people, and this is basic Josh 101, the more people who know you, like you, trust you, know you're in the real estate space, the more your business grows. I haven't found anything that does anything close to what YouTube does. And I guess the unintended additional benefit is it's also monetized a YouTube channel, which, by the way, when they say monetized, well, it's nice that it's monetized, but I think I'm somewhere around like $70 in monetization, so you're not going to go too far with that. And again, my intent was never to have a YouTube channel to be monetized. I wasn't interested in being a YouTube star. I want buyers, and that's what we got. So that's a little snapshot behind the scenes, and since then, those numbers have jumped. I think it was either, what is that, 395? So now we're at 425. But 425,000 viewers in the last 365 days. I sure as shit don't want to make 465,000 cold calls to connect with whatever, like 1% of those. We're building the pipeline of raving fans, and you can do it too. So here's the best advice I have for anybody who's looking to start. Make a decision and start now. As soon as you get home, start. Don't delay. You got your smartphone. Whatever pieces are, I'd order them tonight. I'd order them right now. Get them, have them waiting for you when you get home, and make a decision that you're going to start and start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be great. Nobody cares. Content is king, and be consistent. So just go out there, make the decision, and do it. Don't quit. It will work. It may take you 7 months. It may take you 10 months. It may take you 2 years. I don't give a flying frog's fat ass how long it takes you. Just do it, because at some point, when the algorithm finds you and when it hits, it's a wrap. It will 100% work. And it's going to be hard. So, I mean, I've got every excuse in the book as to why I can't do it. It's hot out. Yeah, okay. I don't look good. I got a pimple on my face. Whatever the case is. None of that shit matters. Content, 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 consistency, 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 and keep pushing. You can do this, get some. And that's it. So if you want to connect, my contact information is there, and thank you. Thank you.